Hi, I'm Lucas,
And I'm Chris.
and this is our first episode of our podcast called Moodboard. And we have here our guest, Freda from the UK. She is a friend of ours, and we've been listening to her EP. And we wanted to invite her for this first episode to talk a little bit of her work. And
Yeah, I hope everybody enjoys it so much as we do.
yeah.
He says he's falling. I can't believe it. He says he's falling. I can't believe him. He already fell.
Welcome, Fred.
Yeah,
Thank
well,
you for having me.
yeah. So you put out this EP, and I was looking for other stuff that you did before, but I couldn't find much stuff. So just like starting like from here, what type of works did you do like before getting at this point now?
Yeah, so I guess this is the first thing that I've put out on my own properly, like as a solo work. It's my debut, in a sense. But obviously, I've been making music for ages. I think musically, I did start at songwriting, and then I never recorded anything, and then I moved much more into collaboration and free improv, and I did loads of stuff for other people's projects. And then I think eventually I sort of wanted to have my own like baby, and decided that alongside collaboration I needed to be nurturing my own like creative work. So I guess that's what this is the result of that.
And when do you felt that this idea started, like the first seed?
Yes. So I guess I've been songwriting since I was like 15, but I never really felt much urge to record it. But then I decided, I don't know, I started recording things a few years ago just for fun, and then I don't know when along the way I decided I wanted to make it into an EP, but it did take like three or 4 years from the first song that I wrote on the EP to when it was, mastered and finished and ready to put out. So yeah.
So, do you think that for you this process starts with the songwriting?
Yeah.
Because I
Definitely.
don't know, I think the musicians works in different ways. Some it's with the melody, others it's with the songwriting, and for you
The
it's
lyrics, are you saying?
the lyrics, and for you it starts with the lyrics.
I don't know if it starts with the lyrics. Actually, looking back, I can't remember if lyrics or song came first. I think all of these songs might have come lyrics and melody at the same time. But yeah, it does start with the songwriting. And before the songwriting, it starts with like an emotion, I would say.
But the songs they changed a lot during this period. I imagine they
Yes,
probably.
actually, the first song I recorded was Windowledge. It was very janky. And by the time I'd finished the EP, it was completely different to the rest of the songs, like with instruments and even just recording quality. I think actually I recorded the whole thing on my phone. So I finished the EP and then I re-recorded Windowledge in the style of the rest of the songs because it was, like 2 or 3 years time period that I recorded them all over.
Yeah, I think my favorite is I love the first track.
Mm.
That melody got stuck in my head a few days ago when I started to listen. Uh, I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about that one in particular, but I love that melody, especially at the end. More like the chorus at the end.
Yeah, Julian. Is that the
Julian,
one?
yeah,
Yeah. What
yeah,
would
yeah.
you
That's
like
it.
to know?
No, I was curious for why it was like the first one, like the opener of
Mm.
the album. You know.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely has quite a slow pace. And I
Hmm.
think it was my way of kind of drawing in whoever wanted to come into my like sound world and emotional world. And if you have the patience to get through that very slow introduction, then you can enjoy the rest of the EP.
Hmm.
Um, and I think it also captures the sounds of the whole EP very nicely. It's like um, tombrally. It's very I can't think of the right word, but
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
it
no.
represents the rest of the EP very nicely. So I thought it was a good opening track.
Yeah, I was very surprised when I read that, you know, that you did a lot of the work at home because it sounds great. You know, it sounds very professional. It sounds. I don't know if the end result it was recorded at home or if you redid everything at studio.
Uh,
How it was the process.
yeah, it was kind of all over the place. So Windowledge was all at home.
Oh, yeah.
Julian, most of it was at home, and then I think I recorded the strings in the EMS, the Electronic Music Studios at Goldsmiths. Uh, the love song was recorded in the Goldsmiths Music Studios. Inconsistency, that was all at home.
Hmm.
And He Is My Piece, that was all in the Electronic Music Studios. And anything I recorded at home, I just did with
Yeah.
my blue microphone. Um, it's
Yeah, that was something that I was thinking when I read that and I was listening to the EP. That it's like maybe it's a kind of like dumb or amateur question, but I imagine that there's a lot of resources now for you to kind of be able to do an entire album at home, right?
You're right, there's pros and cons. Um, for me, I think the cons of the studio recording outweigh the pros just because I get really uncomfortable in professional studio settings and I just perform really badly. um, and I needed to create a space that felt completely safe um, to get anything meaningful done. But that's a very personal reason. I think you can do at home recordings much better than I've done. um,
No,
and
but it's a personal issue, but it's an important one
yeah,
because
exactly. Yeah,
that's
because
kind of the spirit that you want to capture, you know, to the song. So if you're going to a studio that you don't feel comfortable, you know it doesn't work.
yeah, you
Yeah,
lose
it's
half
more
Personally,
the song.
intimidate.
Sorry.
yeah.
It's like more intimidate for your work, you know.
Yeah.
But I read what you post today on your Instagram, kind of a list of songs that inspire you, you know, on a blog or website.
Yeah, yeah.
But there are a part that they wrote about you, and I think you mentioned something about recording on studios,
Yeah.
and yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
and
And
I think
I
I
hadn't.
understand that.
Oh, sorry. What did you say
Yeah,
just then?
and I think I understand that because your album, your EP, is very intimate. It's like it's something very personal, I guess. And I think in the studio, maybe you don't feel so comfortable to make the same way as you did. Maybe that's
Yeah,
Yeah,
and like
absolutely.
I was saying, I feel that that's essential, right?
Yeah, yeah. And it's like what you were saying about your surroundings being embedded in the creative work. Um, and I really like demos. Actually, me and Anna listened to lots of demos when we were living together in Wandsworth when I started recording the EP. So I'm sure that is kind of baked into the EP. Um, I was reading Vashti Bunyan's autobiography and she talks about not feeling comfortable in studios, and she made this whole album and it just wasn't really what she wanted, and it wasn't until she was older and she just did it all at home that she was able to make something that was what she was trying to say. And reading that made me feel less alone. And so it's in the press release that I wasn't comfortable in studios, and I think there are lots of people who've had that experience as well. Even just not being able to press record. Like, I like to be able to press record and know you have to have such a chemistry with your engineer, which I've never had, although now I am dating an engineer, so maybe I can start to explore that a little bit. But I'm still scared of studios, even though I have like ideal circumstances, but it might just take a while.
I imagine that it is intimidated, kind of like going to kind of like a camera. It's also intimidated, or anything that that's going to record.
Absolutely. And there is this image of studio being the only place where you can make an album, and there is a reason for that, because microphones are very complicated and capture all sorts of things, but there are so many ways of creating, and I wanted to do something, like you said, that worked for me. And definitely I listen back and I hear a lot of like imperfections and I will say, like, Jake mastering it made it sound so much better, and I'm really lucky and grateful to him for doing that. It sounds amazing. Were you going to say something?
Yeah, but you are having some shows with the hippie, right? I was gonna ask you, but I think that I already know the answer, but whatever. Do you prefer this phase that I guess you are having some shows and showing your work to other people, or the first phase when you were recording and writing the songs?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question, because I think to me the songs exist as like entities that live in my brain, and it feels so strange to give it to the world in just one version, whether that's the performance that they see or the recording that they hear. I don't know what I prefer. I think I find them both difficult and freeing in equal parts, just in different ways. Like, it feels much safer to record at home, but it's really scary having something that is like there that people can play over and over, and that becomes the definitive version of the song. And then playing live feels like you can give the song a much more organic life, which is great, but it's also like really dependent on the day and who's with me. So I love performing so much when I'm with my band. It's such a joy, but I find it very difficult on my own, because my songs are very vulnerable, and to be on stage like telling everyone about how sad I am and like also having to play guitar well for an hour is really vulnerable. And on a good day I can handle it, but sometimes I have days when I'm not feeling great and I have to perform, and I'm worried I'm just going to cry in front of everyone, and that's so scary. So yeah, I think that's
And we also would like to talk a little bit about the visual aspect. We noticed that you use it photographics in black and white. Oh, and I love the seed paper that you put on Bandcamp too. So I really like how you put together all the thing around the album. So why starting from the artwork? Why did you thought about like black and white photography?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of artists who, well, I was putting together some album covers that I liked, and a lot of them were black and white, like Aldous Harding's Warm Chris and
Mhm.
Adrian Lenker's uh is it called Terminal
Something.
Paradise? Wait, no, let me find
Yeah.
out what the name of the album is. I don't want to look silly. Hibiscus.
No worries.
Her
Okay.
album
Okay.
Hibiscus. Um,
Okay.
I just noticed a lot of them are black and white, and then I think tying in with the themes of the EP, a lot of it feels like memories, kind of snapshots of moments in my past, and the EP cover is me like looking over my shoulder back at something,
Mm.
and whilst I wrote the songs and I recorded the songs, and all of the themes that I'm singing about in the EP were happening at the time. But by the time it came to releasing it this year, I've been in a very different place. So it felt nice to do it black and white. Also, on a sad note, because I guess that's my thing now, um, I was really quite depressed while I was writing the songs and recording the songs, and sometimes it felt like my life was in black and white, like very kind of dull and dark. And I think it captures that nicely. And also, black and white images. It's just an easier way to kind of have an aesthetic. Like it kind of narrows it down a bit. Like black and white, that's my thing. But I think now it's all released, I'm gonna stop doing everything in black and white because I'm a bit bored of it now. But I make a lot of art and I make a lot of films, and I really like using black and white because I find it's a beautiful way to abstract form, and using shadow and light to create a new image from something that can be quite simple. Uh, yeah.
Since our podcast is calling Moodboard and we are already talking about the visual aspect, and
Mm.
you already talked about uh, the artwork, so we were going to ask you more visual stuff that inspire you for not only for this EP but even for other works that you did, like because what I mean is when we make a mood board, when someone comes to us and wants work from us, what do we put on the mood board is colors, s- frames from different movies, illustrations, anything that can be visual, you know. So we're going to ask you, I don't know, maybe a movie that you can connect with this hippie, or a color, but we already talked about black and
Black and
white.
white.
Yeah.
Oh, I watched a very incredible film called Touch Me Not, um,
Mm.
and it kind of it's a film about intimacy and deconstructing taboos around sex and the body, and it has a lot of really beautiful shots of like skin, and just creates beautiful forms out of bodies. And I've done a lot of the same in my video work. um, I also really liked After Sun. I liked how
Mhm.
I really liked the pacing of that film, and how they captured a lot of emotion just in the way they filmed it. It's a very visual film. It gave me enough time
Mm.
to take everything in.
Yeah, and the fact that they kind of mixed some VHS footage kind of like creates that personal vibe too. I really like the way that they use it, the VHS, to capture like the
Yeah.
memories. And yeah, and you're talking before about listening to demos, and I think that demos kind of like kind of has this memory quality in a way. Kind of looks like a letter in a way,
Yes, like,
kind of like a,
yeah, I would say like pages of a diary, you know.
yeah, kind of has this more personal quality that I think I think no, I can definitely hear in your songs too.
Yeah, like almost DIY as a way of
Hmm.
capturing um, in the moment emotion.
Mm-hmm.
Like VHS has that. The VHS parts of After Sun have that spontaneity to them. Obviously, they're all planned, but they
Mm-hmm.
use that to capture a sense of spontaneity, and that's what demo recording does as well. It captures a sense of place more than anything. Um, yeah, I want to. I'm at the moment I'm saving up for a boat, and I
Yeah.
want to record my next like batch of songs on the boat, like write them on the
Mm.
boat and record them on the boat. Uh,
Yeah. You don't get dizzy?
I do, but I like being busy.
Okay.
It's
Oh
fun.
yeah, you like?
That's strange.
Yeah, yeah. No, just asking so you know take care to don't have like sounds of barfing, you know, in
Yeah,
the
the
background.
sound of you falling over and hitting the deck.
Yeah, or that,
It's part of the emotions.
yeah. Yeah. Oh, I also like coming back to the EP. I really also like I felt like a centerpiece in the album, the third track, the love song of Joe and Freda D'Souza. Don't know if you feel that way, but kind of like feel like a centerpiece for the album.
Are you
And
saying
I was
sense of peace or centerpiece?
centerpiece, like
Centerpiece, yeah,
something,
yeah.
yeah, something like in the middle that's like a larger song, you know, that kind of like has more, you know, more like weight, maybe is a way to describe.
Mm.
I don't know if you feel that way, but I was also curious, you know, about the title because it kind of felt like I don't know if I'm right, but kind of like felt something from your family, some you know some old relative person, you know.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
really interesting. A lot of people have thought that it's a family member.
oh
It's
yeah.
actually just quite a nerdy reference to a poem called "The Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock" by
Oh.
T.S. Eliot. But
Oh.
now you say that, it's kind of made me connect the dots a little bit because that's my dad's favorite poem. And I
Mm.
think that we have a lot of parallels in the pain that we feel, and that's the reason we probably both love this poem so much. So I suppose, in a way, like it could allude to family member or maybe even intergenerational trauma, um, but it is primarily just based on the T.S. Eliot poem. There's a few lyrics in the chorus that are based in that poem. Um,
Okay.
I think I overestimated how famous that poem is with today's youth. I really thought more people would know. But now they will. Now they will know.
Yeah. No, I guess I was more focused on the last name, so I
Yeah.
thought that maybe it was like I don't know a grandma or
Yeah,
somebody
yeah.
in your
No,
family.
I was just being a bit silly, actually. Um, maybe a bit too silly.
That's good. Yeah. But and you know like since you're talking about all these more difficult issues like trauma and all of that, do you feel that doing now that like the album is complete and released, do you felt that that process helped you? You know, how do you feel
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
totally right? Yeah.
I mean, I think songwriting and creating is always a good way to work through uh, feelings. And I know from times in my life when I wasn't even able to do that, it's given me a sense of feeling very lucky to be able to do it sometimes. Um, and having released it has obviously freed up a lot more space in my life. I feel like I can move on to the next thing now. And it's really nice to have this kind of, it's like a photo album of feelings, I
Mm-hmm.
suppose. Um, I'm quite proud of myself for having released it. It took me a very long time to kind of allow myself to share the songs. It feels um, it's so weird. It's like a weird combination of self-centered and selfless at the same time. Like recording music and releasing it, because on one hand, I'm saying me, this is all my stuff, and you have to listen to it. Or you don't have to listen to it, but like it feels very like self-centered. And then also, I know from having listened to other people's music that's very vulnerable, and having like found so much, such a haven in other people's music. What I know from those people, that it can be a selfless act to release music and to share that with the world. I can't remember why I started talking about that actually.
Yeah, I kind of, because I think that, like you're saying, me, but then when I listen, I put myself in your shoes, and that me, it's now I, it's
Yeah.
not me. So I don't think it's something, it's not just yours when you share to the world, and you have you give this possibility for people to listen to, and it's you know it's so helpful, for other people, and helps their journey too, as music that you listen and helped you.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's good to just think about something, how did you say it? Like,
So
yeah,
self-centered.
so
Yeah.
self-centered. Yeah.
I don't know.
And
I think it exists. It exists because people will connect when it's out. It's
yeah.
so. It's what Lucas said. It's not me. It's, I guess, when people will listen it, I think they will think, "Oh, she thinks like I think,"
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
That's really nice to
and
hear. I think that's what I'm hoping for. Definitely.
and that's what will make people to put the hit on their playlists and things like that. I think that's how it works.
I was going to ask more about, after the completion, how was the process of releasing, and finding a label or something that could help you to put it out.
Yeah, I mean, I was just so lucky to have my friends helping me. So, I
Mhm.
finished the EP, and then my friend Daniel Glenn Paget, he took all the photos, and
Mhm.
my partner Jake Reynolds mastered the EP really beautifully. And then Anna, Anne Ramil, and Hannah, they both have one woman run labels. So they teamed up. That's Demo Records and Crossnest Records, and they very
Mhm.
kindly agreed to help me release um, Windowledge. And they've just been so on it and amazing and helpful throughout the whole process. And um, I really couldn't have done it without the support of the people around me. I think I probably just put it up on SoundCloud and let it have like 5 listens and just be like, it's done now. Um, so it's really nice to feel so supported, and also to have such talented friends, so skilled, who have been able to um, do such a good job of releasing the EP.
Yeah, that's great. It's great that you found a home, because, yeah, for sure, it will be a bit of a shame if it was just something lost on the Bandcamp library without getting the attention that it deserved.
Mm.
So yeah, congrats for you, and also for them, for their work, and to paying attention to your song, to your work, right?
For sure.
And how was you mentioned some feedback, but there's like any interpretations that people mention it to you that call your attention, or how do you see you know the 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 response.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have asked me who Julian is, which is really funny.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Uh, it's a fake name, everyone. You'll never know.
it
Um,
sounds like a family question.
oh, what?
Sounds like a family question. Uh, I'm saying that because when I was younger, I used to write poetry.
Mm.
And one day my parents read that and they were like, "Who is this about?"
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, "It's just my feelings."
Yeah. It's about me, no one else.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting though, because when I wrote Julian, I was trying to hide some feelings. So it's about loving someone who I didn't feel like I was allowed to love, and having feelings I didn't think I was allowed to have. Um, but at the time, I was had the story in my head that it was about death,
Mhm.
and about kind of like um, not knowing what happens when you die. You know, not knowing what it looks like underneath the ground. Um, and also I can't remember, I don't know if I say relief of teeth or release of teeth, but like I remember this fact, like when you die your fingernails get longer because your body shrinks, and I kind of the same with the
Oh.
teeth. And anyways,
Mhm.
um
Mhm.
yeah, dead leaves in your hair, just kind of like the body going back into the ground, and everyone sees that except you. But it's also about love, and it's also about the death of love, and maybe it's the love that is dying or being sort of buried alive almost. um, I guess the advantage of having to write such coded lyrics is that there are lots of interpretations. It's very
Uh,
ambiguous.
I think we asked about visual references, but we didn't ask much about musically
Mm.
references. There's any artist that comes to mind for this project in particular?
Do you know, I didn't actually hear any Vashti Bunyan music until after everything was done, because Jake went to Green Man and he brought me back a signed copy of Vashti Bunyan's autobiography. And I
Ah,
hadn't heard any of her music, but I started reading the book and was like, I relate so much to this person. And I started listening to her music and just found it so beautiful. So that was very lucky guess on Jake's part. Well done, him. So yeah, I think Vashti Bunyan, retrospective influence for sure. Adrian Lenker, uh, Julie Byrne, Aldous Harding, Joanna Newsom, Björk, Laura Marling is a big one.
Mm.
I was listening to so much Laura Marling when I was a teenager, and I was like copying her voice to learn how to sing, and she inspired a lot of my songs. The same with Joni Mitchell at the same time when I was a teenager. Um, Lots of people. These days, I mostly listen to Moses Sumney and Big Thief and Adrian Lenker.
Yeah, I was listening to their new song today, actually, the Vampire Empire.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not.
haven't
I'm not.
haven't heard
I
it yet.
have. Oh yeah, it's really good. And I'm not. I never had proper time to listen to them, but I really like that track, and I want to
Yeah.
explore more about their.
Yeah. I mean, I can't wait to listen to it. I'm so slow to listen to music. Like, I have a real mental block. I just like listen to the same songs obsessively on repeat, and I'm like
Yeah.
creep my way towards new music. And people always get annoyed with me because they send me music to listen to, and I never listen to it. But I'm just very slow at absorbing things. One song is more than enough, for a week. Like, yeah.
And how is the how would you say is like the music scene over there?
It's I do me as a person, I struggle to talk in generalized terms. But I will say, personally, I don't leave the house that much. So I don't know if I'm part of any scenes in particular.
Oh,
I,
okay,
I'll,
okay.
I would say my experience of London is that it's a very overwhelming place, and everyone is doing things all the time. Um, and I think I'm not ashamed of the fact that I don't leave the house very much, even though I know that London wants me to be ashamed of that. I won't. I like being inside. I like going, to have a walk in the park on my own. And, I met so many incredible musicians at Goldsmiths. Um, and at the same time, I felt like I was only going to make friends at Goldsmiths if I was useful to those people. And I feel like so much of the London mentality is like blurred boundaries between networking and friendships, and I've really struggled with that. I'm not great at like understanding social cues. So I think I just kind of stick to my small circle of friends. Like I literally want to be friends with everyone. So like, you know, if another person wants to come into the circle, that's great. But often I found that a lot of people are just kind of networking and I haven't realized it, and I get all sad because I thought we were making friends.
Oh
But
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I imagine that stuff when you notice that somebody is just looking to get something.
Yeah, and I don't think it's malicious. I think it's just the boundaries are quite blurred, and I'm not very good at reading signals often. I don't think people are, yeah, like trying to
But
exploit
you're
me.
living
But
in a huge town where a
mm,
lot of things are happening, and I
mm,
imagine that could be super overwhelming.
completely,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
and I can see what you're saying about that. London is inviting you because I imagine there's like
Yeah.
something, so much thing happening, and and everybody's going out, and then you feel that you also need to go,
The
and
fear of missing out.
yeah,
oh,
the
yeah,
FOMO,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I really like London, but I feel a little exhausted when we go over there because of that.
Rainy.
And,
Yeah,
and
it's really
also
grey here.
also that
Yeah,
also
I,
that.
I think me wanting to move onto a boat is my way of trying to stay in London but find a pace of life that works better for me.
Mm.
Um, so hopefully that works out. And if it doesn't, then I'll just sail up to Birmingham or something. Try again. But
Oh,
I
so
have my hope.
the idea is to get a boat now,
Mm,
basically. Yeah,
yeah, to live on a boat. So I'm gonna
but
move back.
to
Mm.
live.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Oh, that's great.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think there are beautiful boats.
Oh
Like there
yeah.
are boats that looks like apartments. Mm.
Yeah, and the way that rent is, today, it's probably cheaper to live in the ocean.
Yeah, yeah, that is the thing that's exactly just swimming around.
Yeah.
That's the thing that scares me most about London is like how ooh, the rent prices have just gotten terrifying over the last couple of years. And I just finished my degree, so I know I'm going to have to get a job to carry on living here and rent here. Um, and I get the feeling that to earn enough to pay rent will take me away from being creative, and also I have a very low capacity for life, and I worry that I wouldn't be able to hold down a full time job. So yes, move back home, save up for a boat. Once it's bought, you and if you're cruising, you don't have to pay rent, and your life becomes about like maintaining the boat and moving the boat, and like I would much prefer that.
Oh yeah, I saw once a documentary about some tribe that they pretty much live in the boat, so they get dizzy when they are on land. When they are
Oh, that's
still,
so
they get
interesting.
yeah, they get a type of dizziness
Huh?
because their
Yeah.
body is
Yeah.
already, yeah. So maybe you become like
You talked about me getting dizzy.
that.
Now I'm worried.
No, no. You get dizzy when you go back to London, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be on a boat in London. It'll be all right.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I can imagine the beautiful music that you make on a boat.
Well,
So
hopefully, we'll see, eh? Maybe I'll have no creative bones left, and that's also okay, so it's all right.
yeah, you already told about your gigs, but I don't know if you want to try to promote something, about the EP.
Oh, yeah. We have some cassettes left if anyone wants to buy cassettes. They're sort of dwindling in numbers, though. And a few hand printed cyanotypes that I made over the summer. just with
Do
things
you
from the
have
garden.
in CD or just cassettes?
Just cassette, yeah. You can
Yeah.
download it and you can buy it on cassette all through Bandcamp.
Where? Yeah, it's on
On your
Bandcamp. That
Yeah,
can.
Bandcamp, and that's where you can buy cyanotypes as well as through Bandcamp.
Yeah, I saw the photo that it's really beautiful. How did you do that?
It's just
In your
a
home
method of
too?
printing where
Yeah.
you put the chemical on the paper, and then you
Yeah.
put something on top of the paper to like create a shadow, and then you develop it in the sun. And anything that goes in the sun turns blue, and then anything that wasn't in the sun, you just wash the chemical off.
I've done that in school.
Did
Oh,
you?
yeah?
Yeah, it's really fun and
Yeah.
it's great to
It's
do with kids.
beautiful. Yeah, I've done with the real photos too.
Yeah, like a negative.
Yes, in negative, it's beautiful. But I don't remember the
Chemical.
yeah, what we need to do. I don't remember like the recipe.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
the
just have
process.
two. I just A and B. I don't know what chemicals they are, but equal parts.
That's great. It is nice that you put together. I imagine you did that at home too.
Yeah, all
Yeah,
DIY. Everything else so
that's great.
DIY.
I like this, all this homemade feel on the record. And it's also if people get this, they kind of feel that they have something, that you made by yourself. It's not something printed.
Yeah. Well, I feel like music and just creating anything in its essence is just like a bid for connection, and I wanted to try and keep that at the core of everything I was doing. Like, I want to find the way to connect with people in the most genuine way that I could. So it's all like really DIY, and I've had a lot of fun doing it as well.
Nice. I think this is the end of our first episode. Thanks again for being part, and we are still learning. And this is the part where I try to.
Yeah, this is the part we don't know what to say.
Yeah.
But
No, and I start to apologize for things that.
but we hope
A big group apology.
Yeah.
everybody can follow you.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. Go check her Freda's album. Really beautiful. Really nice that that after all these years, you found time and you dedicate yourself to finish it. And also great that you found a group of friends of people that help you release this and put it out in the world. So I'm really happy for you, and we're happy to have this great music out in the world. So yeah,
And
you should definitely check her Bandcamp and
Follow.
everything. Yeah, follow and everything. So thanks again, Freda.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It was a very wonderful conversation. Really enjoyed it.
He says he's falling.